Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 226, Nerves of Steelix. The episode begins with Misty and Brock having just walked out of the Pokemon Center after spending the night there with Ash in Olivine City, and they were packing up their things, getting ready to leave. When suddenly, Janina came by and questioned where Ash was, noting how he should have been with Brock and Misty since he was supposed to be in Olivine City as well, getting ready for his gym battle against Jasmine. They assure her that Ash was still in Olivine. He was just doing a little morning run with his Pokemon in preparation for the match. Brock and Misty then take Janina to the location where Ash was running, being the coastline somewhat nearby the lighthouse. To prove this, and sure enough, they arrived just as Ash was finishing up his run with his Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Totodile, Cyndaquil, and Bayleaf, which was his way of preparing them for his gym match. When he finished the run, Ash declared that his Pokemon were now ready for the battle, but then Ash spots Brock, Misty, and Janina in the distance and hurriedly rushes towards them as Team Rocket were spying on Ash from a nearby cliff, ready for their plan to be put into action, as they had already set it up. Ash and the gang soon see this plan, as immediately after they had all reunited, they decided to go to the gym so Ash could battle Jasmine, but on their way, they ran into a Wobbuffet statue put in place by Team Rocket, which was preventing them from going any further. When Ash examined the statue, not knowing that Team Rocket was involved, he spotted a sign below it that read that anyone who placed a Pokemon near it would win any upcoming battle without fear, though suspiciously added that the rarer the mon was, the higher chance they had at actually winning. Ash obviously wanted a guaranteed win against Jasmine, so he placed Pikachu without any hesitation on top of the Wobbuffet statue, and sure enough, the statue's eyes then begin to glow red. This obviously makes Ash suspicious, and his suspicions are then confirmed as a spring unleashes from the Wobbuffet statue and bounces Pikachu off of the head as the Wobbuffet statue's mouth opens and Pikachu becomes trapped inside, leading Team Rocket to reveal themselves, also inside the statue, as they do their motto, explaining that this statue was indeed one of their traps, and now they had Pikachu. After Team Rocket was done their motto, they didn't waste no time making their escape, as some wheels popped out of the statue suddenly and began wheeling the statue off, with Pikachu still inside, along with Team Rocket, now inside the cockpit. Ash tries to stop the statue moving by damaging it by sending out his Bayleaf and having her use Razor Leaf, but due to the Wobbuffet statue being made out of titanium, the leaves just bounced off, doing absolutely no damage. As Team Rocket drives off, they taunt Ash and the gang regarding the titanium, and upon hearing about the titanium, Jessie remembers the time where she wanted a new titanium pencil case, like everyone else had, but she couldn't afford one, which led all the other kids to tease her and brag about how their pencil cases were so strong that they were immune to even a Snorlax stomping on them. Jessie then revealed that one of the main reasons why she even joined Team Rocket in the first place was because she wanted to find a way to get back at all the kids in her class that made fun of her for not having a titanium pencil case. As Jessie clarified what these insults were that her classmates hurled at her, even Meowth and James were disgusted by the insults, with the most prominent of them being that Jessie should just place the pencil behind her ear, like a nerd, since she didn't have a pencil case. And now, she thought that she could finally prove herself to them by getting away with a rare Pikachu. And it seemed as though Team Rocket was actually going to get away with Pikachu this time, as when Brock and Janina sent out both of their Onix to try and take out the statue and stop it in its tracks, even both of their tackle attacks at once couldn't do any damage to it. In fact, the Onix actually ended up taking more damage from their own attack, since just like the real Wobbuffet, this Wobbuffet statue was able to reflect attacks back due to its titanium body. With seemingly no mon able to stop it, the Wobbuffet statue then begins to drive up a nearby cliff to fully escape. Its escape is then cut off, though, by a Pokemon which Ash had never seen before, so he uses his Pokedex on it to find out that it was a Steelix, the Steel-type evolution of Onix. Anyways, the Steelix tackles the Wobbuffet statue, knocking it down the cliff, and Ash and the gang watch and spot Jasmine on top of the Steelix, indicating that it was hers, and she had come to save the day. Upon seeing Jasmine, Brock is still enamored by her like he was before, and says his own Pokedex entry for Jasmine, talking about how beautiful she was. Anyways, with the Wobbuffet statue knocked down after falling down the cliff, Steelix takes the opportunity to use Crunch on it and therefore crack it open. Jasmine was going to have her Steelix go wild at this point to absolutely destroy the Wobbuffet statue, so she thought it'd be best to hop off of Steelix, so she did so, jumping down to Ash and the gang, who explained to her that they needed to retrieve Pikachu before she let Steelix go wild on it. So Ash commanded his Bayleaf to use Vine Whip, and Bayleaf was able to grab Pikachu from the inside of the Wobbuffet statue, allowing Steelix to send the statue high in the air with an Iron Tail attack. And the Iron Tail was so strong against the titanium that it caused the statue to explode, sending Team Rocket blasting off, as Pikachu was now free. Everyone was amazed with Steelix's power, especially Brock, as he compliments the Steelix, as well as Jasmine, flirting with her in the process, leading Misty to drag him off. Ash and Misty then jump into the conversation, and also thank Jasmine for all her help with saving Pikachu, to which Jasmine reminds Ash of the gym battle, stating that she would not go easy on him, and Ash agrees that he would not go easy either, and wouldn't have it any other way, as he wanted the battle to be as authentic as possible. Which was quite funny, because he tried to get a guaranteed win by placing Pikachu by the Wobbuffet statue in the first place, but we're just going to ignore that. Anyways, with Team Rocket gone, Ash was finally able to head to the Olivine gym, and he was finally about to challenge Jasmine, with Janina being the referee, clarifying that despite most gym battles being 3v3, this one would be 2 versus 2. Also adding that there would be no time limit. Brock, knowing that Jasmine was the Steel-type gym leader, and knowing that Fire types were good against Steel types, was going to advise Ash to send out his Cyndaquil, but he stopped himself because he figured that Jasmine would likely have a Pokemon to counter her Steel-type's weaknesses anyways. So he let Ash take charge, as Ash decided to send out his Pikachu to battle, and Jasmine sent out her Magnemite first. Pikachu went for the first attack, being Thunderbolt, but Magnemite dodged and then went for a Thunder Wave. However, Pikachu dodged this. Pikachu tries to go in for another Thunderbolt, but Magnemite was too fast and dodged again, going in for yet another Thunder Wave, which Pikachu dodged again. This same process repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated. Both Pokemon just kept dodging, with no one getting hit. Because both were so fast, Ash realized that neither of them could win if they just kept dodging, and comes up with an idea, which was to have Pikachu willingly take Magnemite's Thunder Wave. So although Pikachu does get hit, Magnemite gets caught off guard due to not actually expecting to be able to land a hit, and this allows Ash to attack Magnemite back with a Thunderbolt. Magnemite was so weakened from the Thunderbolt that when it tried to use Thunder Wave, it missed very quickly, not helped by Pikachu moving out of the way using a Quick Attack. Pikachu then tries to transition this Quick Attack dodge into an actual attack, but the Quick Attack doesn't do much damage to Magnemite due to Magnemite being a Steel type, and Quick Attack being a normal move. Pikachu's failure allowed Magnemite to go in for another Thunder Wave, which did hit Pikachu, but Pikachu was able to quickly recover and go in for another Quick Attack, this time fully focused on attacking rather than dodging, and this meant that it was strong enough to actually knock Magnemite into a wall, knocking it out and forcing Jasmine to recall it, as she commended Ash's Pikachu on its skills. Though Jasmine remarks that Pikachu wouldn't be able to win against her second Pokemon since it was already weakened, as she then sends out her Steelix. Yeah, that's right, she wasn't even using Ampharos, despite her putting off the entire battle for it. Ash unfortunately saw that Jasmine was right. Pikachu was extremely tired, as it could barely even stand up. Steelix used this to his advantage, as it went for Iron Tail, but Steelix was too cocky, so Pikachu was able to get back up just in time and dodge it, and then go in for a Thunderbolt. Steelix didn't move whatsoever, as it took the Thunderbolt head-on. At first, Brock questioned why Jasmine was doing this, but then he realized that Jasmine was implementing the same strategy that Ash did, letting her Pokemon purposely get hit so that Pikachu would get even more weakened from using its own attack. Sure enough, this happened, so Pikachu almost fell to the ground again, leading Steelix to use Iron Tail again. Fortunately for Ash, Pikachu was able to dodge the Iron Tail again as it used a Quick Attack, and then turn the Quick Attack into an attack. But just like with Magnemite beforehand, during the Quick Attack where it went from a dodging move to an attacking move, Steelix being a Steel type made its hardened body way too hard for Ash to break through with a Quick Attack. This allowed Steelix to go in for yet another Iron Tail, and this time it hit the tired Pikachu as it was unable to dodge anymore, and Pikachu fainted as a result, giving Jasmine her first win, which Janina declares as Ash picks up Pikachu and congratulates him on doing his best. Ash then decides that he should go for a type advantage against Steelix with a Fire type, just as Brock was initially going to suggest, so he sends out his Cyndaquil as his second Pokemon. Both trainers were now down to their last Mon. It was Cyndaquil versus Steelix. Ash was confident that he could win with a type advantage, but Jasmine assured him that Steelix had a way to win, even against Fire Pokemon, just as Brock had predicted. However, Ash countered that Steelix would not be able to beat Cyndaquil, even if it did manage to get over its type advantage, since Cyndaquil was one of the strongest Fire Pokemon, having the heart of every Fire Pokemon in existence, although he was clearly just trying to hype up Cyndaquil to give it some motivation. And there was nothing wrong with that, since Cyndaquil needed some motivation to whip up its flamethrower. However, before it could get it whipped up, Steelix went for an Iron Tail, though thankfully missed yet again. Iron Tail's accuracy must have sucked, but anyways, Cyndaquil was finally able to charge up its flamethrower, due to charging up by dodging several other Iron Tails. So Ash told him to use it, but before the flamethrower could hit, Steelix used Sandstorm to shield itself from the flamethrower, and in the chaos of the Sandstorm, Ash and the gang could barely see anything as the flamethrower made contact with it. It didn't make contact with the Steelix though, as when the Sandstorm subsided, Ash and Cyndaquil saw that Steelix had used Dig in the confusion to dig underground and hide itself even more. Knowing this since they saw a huge hole in the middle of the stadium, Ash knew that Steelix would have to come out eventually, so he simply told Cyndaquil to keep its guard up and wait for Steelix to emerge. And a moment later, Steelix did emerge, but Cyndaquil was prepared, so it was able to dodge both Steelix's headbutt when it came out of the ground, and it was able to dodge an Iron Tail. Just like before, Steelix goes for multiple more Iron Tails, with Cyndaquil dodging them all, being able to charge up its flame again, so it used Flamethrower again, but Steelix then did the exact same thing, putting up a Sandstorm barrier, and then digging underground, and emerging again, and it tried to hit Cyndaquil with more Iron Tails, but Cyndaquil kept dodging. Essentially, the process just kept repeating and repeating and repeating, with no Pokemon taking any real damage. Cyndaquil did end up almost getting hit by one of the Iron Tails, but it was able to dodge this one by using Flamethrower on the wall to bounce off of the wall, due to the Flamethrower's momentum. Jasmine realized that Ash had stepped things up a notch, being able to dodge an Iron Tail by doing a Flamethrower bounce-off, so she came to the conclusion that she had to try doing something out of the box as well, which was to still have her Steelix use Dig. However, when it came up, she ordered Steelix to get closer to Cyndaquil, knowing that Cyndaquil could try and go in for a Flamethrower, but she knew that she needed to get closer so that her Iron Tail had a better chance of hitting. However, as Jasmine was thinking of this new strategy, Ash was thinking of yet another new strategy of his own, which was to use all of the holes that Steelix had digged to his advantage, stating that Cyndaquil could use some of the holes to hide in, planning to use Smokescreen to create a diversion so that Cyndaquil could escape into the hole, and he found the perfect chance when Steelix went in for an Iron Tail. So he did the Smokescreen. Steelix instantly got rid of the Smokescreen by using a Sandstorm, and then took the opportunity to dig yet again so it could go for the same attacks that it had done previously. However, when Steelix emerges from the ground, ready to use Iron Tail, it finds that Cyndaquil was gone, because despite blowing the smoke away, Cyndaquil still had enough time to hide in the hole, and it then popped out, catching Steelix off guard, leading Cyndaquil to take the opportunity and use Flamethrower on the off-guard Steelix, and then retreat back into the hole. Unfortunately, despite Cyndaquil catching Steelix off guard, the Flamethrower still wasn't enough to take it out, and in fact, it just ended up making Steelix angry. It got even angrier when it realized that Cyndaquil had retreated back into the hole, so it used Iron Tail on the ground multiple times to destroy all the holes, causing Cyndaquil to come out. At Ash's orders, since he realized that Cyndaquil being underground would now be more dangerous for it. Due to Cyndaquil resurfacing, it just continued to dodge all of Steelix's Iron Tails, as it had before, but Steelix was just getting progressively more angry at this, and surprisingly, instead of the anger making it more inaccurate as you would think, the anger simply made it lock in as it got more accurate. This, combined with the fact that Cyndaquil tried to dodge an Iron Tail by using the flamethrower bounce off the wall tactic again, but failed this time, meant that Cyndaquil actually got smacked by an Iron Tail for once. This one Iron Tail was enough to knock down Cyndaquil and almost put out its flame entirely, which made Brock and Misty, who were currently holding Pikachu and Togepi respectively, think that Cyndaquil was about to be knocked out. As Cyndaquil was unable to get up, Janina declared that Cyndaquil had lost and Jasmine had won the battle. However, right as she declared this, Cyndaquil got back up, struggling to walk back up to Steelix, but it did so anyways. It proved to be too weak though, as it collapsed yet again, leading Janina to get ahead of herself yet again and declare that Jasmine had won, only for Cyndaquil to get up for a third time, ready for battle for real this time, as it was fed up with Janina making early calls. Cyndaquil was now super determined to win, with a whole lot more energy than when it first entered the arena even, and its flame was back up to full power. Steelix wasn't intimidated and went in for a crunch, leading Cyndaquil to use Smokescreen again, so it could use the smoke to bury a hole underground on its own. If Steelix wasn't going to make a hole for it, then it would make its own hole. Steelix wasn't intimidated by this either though, as it simply used Iron Tail on the ground again, as that had worked last time, and this caused the ground to shake, including Cyndaquil's hole, making the hole unstable, forcing Cyndaquil to return above ground, just as Steelix had planned. As now, it could try to smack Cyndaquil with yet another Iron Tail, which freaked Brock and Misty out, as they knew that despite Cyndaquil's determination, it was tired, so one more attack could finish it off. Thankfully, Cyndaquil was able to dodge this one, and go in for a flamethrower. Unfortunately, Steelix used the same strategy it did earlier in the battle, which was to create a sandstorm wall to defend itself from the flamethrower. However, Jasmine decided to change things up a little bit, as instead of having Steelix dig underground to hide, Steelix would simply charge ahead towards Cyndaquil, still using the sandstorm as a block. So, Steelix trudged ahead, as Cyndaquil continued to use flamethrower on the sandstorm shield in an attempt to at least push Steelix back, even if it wasn't doing any damage to it. Seeing Cyndaquil use the flamethrower on the sandstorm gave Ash an idea to turn the sandstorm into an inferno by setting the sandstorm on fire. So, he ordered Cyndaquil to keep firing his flamethrower at it at maximum power, which sure enough heats up the sandstorm and causes it to become a blazing inferno, or a firestorm if you will. As Steelix tried to move forward, the burning firestorm seared it, and it couldn't take the heat anymore, so it stopped and eventually collapsed, after a few seconds of nothing happening, which was very frightening to Ash and the gang, as they didn't know what was going to happen. But fortunately, with Steelix defeated, Ash had got the win, which Janina declared, and Jasmine hurriedly recalled her burnt Steelix so it could heal up, and gave Ash his reward, the Mineral Badge, his 6th badge. As she, Brock, and Misty congratulated Ash, with Jasmine particularly congratulating Ash's firestorm strategy, and Ash congratulated his Cyndaquil. Jasmine then curiously questioned Ash and the gang where their next destination was going to be for Ash's 7th badge, and Ash admitted that he was wondering that himself, stating that he usually left the navigation up to Brock. This led Brock to butt in, wanting to ensure that Jasmine knew that he did his job, explaining that his map said in his guidebook that Mahogany Town was the next closest town with a gym, so they should head there. Janina then butts in, revealing she knew about Mahogany Town, and also knew that there was a shortcut Ash and the gang could take to get there if they went back to Ecruteak City and cut through there. So with that, Ash and the gang made their next destination Ecruteak City so that they could get to Mahogany Town faster. Before Ash and the gang set off, Brock tried to flirt with Jasmine, hoping that she would be impressed with him having done his navigation job, but before he could do any flirting, Misty quickly pulled him away by the ear as usual. The episode then ends as Ash and the gang say goodbye to Jasmine and Janina and begin their journey to Mahogany Town as they already reach the outskirts of Olivine City by sunset. Just as they had arrived back in Olivine City, they were now leaving again.